Tēnei te mihi kia koutou katoa kua tai mai I runga I te kaupapa o te rangi. Aha kua kua mihi a kētia ngā mihi, e tika tonu kia haere tonu ngā mihi kia koutou, ngā manuhi, mai tuarangi, mai tata, koutou o te kura kaupapa o ngā mokopuna, o te puti, nau mai hara mai. Koutou katoa, ngai tūhoi, me ki tātou katoa, nau mai hara mai. Tēnei te mihi a te haukainga, a te atiawa taranaki whānui ki te upu o te ika, kia koutou katoa. Kia ora tātou. My name's, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Holden Hohaya. I've just started at Manaaki Whenua Land Care Research, and I'll be your facilitator for the day. Go easy on me, please. So we've got a lot of speakers to get through, so we'll kick straight into it. So our first, there'll be time for questions too, by the way, as we go through. So feel free to ask those questions when the time comes up. But we are on a pretty tight schedule. So our first set of speakers this afternoon, I'll try and summarise their bios very quickly. Melanie Mark Shepbold and Dr. Amanda Black. Melanie is of Ngāti Kahungunu, Ngāti Pro, Te Aotearoa, Ngāti Raukawa descent. She's an Indigenous environmental sociologist. There's long words in the science sector, really long words. She works at the BioProtection Centre, Māori Research, and she's the Māori Research and Development Manager there. Dr. Amanda Black is of Tūhoi, Whakatohea and Whānau Apanui descent. She's a soil chemist, a Māori lecturer at the BioProtection Research Centre and a kaihautu for the Biological Heritage National Science Challenge. Together they're kaiwhakahaere of Te Tira Whakamātaki, the Māori Biosecurity Network, just checking the name. And they'll be talking today about the challenges approach to Māori research, as well as their personal views around the state of the science system. Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora koutou, ngā mihi nui ki a koutou, nau mai haere mai ki te kaupapa nei, nau mai haere mai ki te Biological Heritage National Science Challenge Conference. Ko Melanie Mark Shepbold tōku ingoa, like Holden said. I just wanted to welcome you all to this session of the conference first, before we kick our kōrero into play, and to acknowledge some of our kaumātua here, Matua Jim and Matua Kevin, and our international guest Kim, and I hope you enjoy the session. It's taken a few of us a wee while to organise it, and we hope it has some kind of flow to it. If you don't like it, I don't take complaints, so just keep them to yourself. Amanda and I are sometimes known as the terrible duo, so because Amanda's back from maternity leave just for today only, you're very privileged to hear her, we're going to let her do most of the talking today. Kia ora.
Kia ora, thanks Melanie. That's correct, and so if a baby starts crying, I'll be out the door. So I think it was about 2 years ago since I gave somewhat of a speech about Vision Mātauranga in the challenge, what we're doing, and so this time around I kind of wanted to expand a little bit on what we've been doing, but delve deeper into the reasons why we think embedding Vision Mātauranga and Māori research into the challenge is important, and has this led to transformational change. So we've all got Māori research as in the VM policy in the government, and that's an obligation of the Treaty of Waitangi. I mean, most people know this, and so that comes under legislative requirements. And it's basically a government policy to unlock the potential of Māori. But these obligations have been, this whole policy has been around for 10 years and it's misunderstood. It's also quite difficult to implement. I think a lot of researchers would agree with that. And there's no international equivalent, so we can't see what's been done elsewhere to try and work with that. And at times it's been of little benefit to Māori or researchers. So what does VM and Mātauranga Māori look like in the challenge? I'll just try and work the pointer. Okay, so I'm just going to come to the side, sorry. So, I mean, the structure we have here, we've got the governance group that has one Māori member. We have the kāhui, which aligns, well, it sort of, I guess, aligns with the governance group, but it sort of comes more with the director and Māori manager, which is Melanie, and under each program we've got a kaihotu, so that's a science leader in the system, and our role as kaihotu, as I'm one of them, is to advise the program leaders on possible, relationships with Māori research and priorities of Māori research, and also to try and help them embed some of the Vision Mātauranga policies in there. And so what have we got so far? We've got unique stories and context, particularly in Program 1, where you're looking at the whakapapa and narrative behind, Mātauranga Māori characterisation of biodiversity. There's an extremely strong conservation thread going throughout the whole challenge, and we've got a lot of endemic and taonga species included in the challenge. There's also looking at Māori responses and Māori priorities and biosecurity risks and threats, including a social licence to operate. And we've also got customary harvest in contemporary settings. And there's citizen science, which has a large Māori component, and that's the treatment of kauri on private land. So the first program, research program, this is how I understand it. It's understanding our biological heritage, and that's how I've sold it, I guess, to Māori and Māori communities. And a lot of these species, you've got kakabeak, you've got peka, your bats, and this is all about bringing Māori communities back to their biological heritage through narrative and whakapapa and capturing that. Also, some of the other species that we've got in the other projects are taonga species to Māori as well. So we've got the mudfish here, and we're looking at adaptive traits and threatened species. It's a model species they're looking at in Canterbury. And we've got kauri dieback, and that's kauri dieback is a phytophthora and affecting that, and looking at, that's also a model system looking at genes and pathogenicity. Can't remember, it's been so long since I've been at work. I apologise. It's like, is that really? I'm sure Bevan will correct me. And so I guess the largest program with the largest Māori content is Program 2, and that's probably because of the context. It's a little easier to adapt a Māori context to this program, where we're looking at your freshwater mussels, your kākihi and your koda, and the pest fish and their interaction with them, and what's happening there, looking at Mātauranga Māori weaving into the dampening out the effects of these pest fish into these creatures and their ecosystem. We also have myrtle rust, which is a huge project. Unfortunately, it was written myrtle rust before it was detected in New Zealand, so we have to reword that now it's here. So rather than preemptive study, it's more like a study in motion. And we have Ngā Mata Pōpiri, which is a rōpū, working alongside high technologies for pest control, and that's using Mātauranga Māori and assisting with that project as well. And in Program 3, it's really about restoring resilient ecosystems, and Phil Liver is running one of the projects, and he's looking at customary harvest, and I'll talk to you a bit about that, in a contemporary setting. We've also got a project that's looking at resilient systems and aquatic ecosystems that's particularly relevant in Canterbury. And there's one on tipping points, and that also has a Māori component. So what part of the ecosystem has tipped, and can we predict that to prevent it going before it can fail? So what did I want to know as a kaihotu is, like, part of the challenge was it's mission-led, right? But also part of it is to, I guess, get across a transformational change in behaviour and how science is done. And so I guess what I wanted to know is, have we achieved it? And how will we know if we've achieved it? And I think we have to a certain extent, but we've still got some way to go. And so I did a little study of my own on email. It's unreplicated and it's not random. I emailed 2 questions to researchers and project leaders in the challenge, and I asked them, given how strongly VM is advocated for and embedded in the challenge, how has this as a researcher helped you, or hasn't it? And what have you learnt? And I had quite interesting responses. So people have their own interpretation of VM and whether it's good for them in their research and how applicable it is. But they all felt before, and this was the common thread, they felt that VM wasn't appropriate for them. They didn't know how to engage. They were embarrassed. They also felt that their research had nothing to contribute to Māori. And also they felt that VM was just for Māori research and therefore it wasn't for them as well. So there's the whole combination. It's like, don't know what it is, don't have the confidence to engage, who do I engage with anyway, and it's probably not for me. And after nearly 3 years in the challenge, a lot of them have a new appreciation of a holistic approach. Now, holistic means interdisciplinary, and that includes social research and their viewpoints, and also like the time scale. So most researchers run with a funding system of like 3 years, and so you have to answer everything and solve all the world's issues in 3 years, and then refund. But Māori take a much longer view. Everything's in perpetuity, and that's one thing I think researchers have noticed, and a lot of them have tried to now frame the questions around the length of time in the environment. They have a new appreciation how their work may fit, and that's been a lot of one-on-one with us and them, talking about their research, talking through it, and trying to come up with some solutions and some people they could talk to make it work. It's all been genuine, and we've all tried to make this the sum of the parts. You can't hear. Greater than solutions. Anyway, and they now have. I've just been showing off 2 minutes. And now they have a confidence about engagement and protocols. We've still got a lot of work to do. So I think research has gained another viewpoint. It certainly has brought a lot of interdisciplinary research together, and there's a new appreciation of sort of Indigenous rights, and particularly in property. What have Māori gained? Māori gained a bit more funding in the research, and I think they've gained more access to scientists. So life for Māori research. Well, I could get on my soapbox here, but I won't, because I've been told I've got 2 minutes. And so it's the pressure to do everything and be everything to everyone at the detriment of my own career. And we're still working through the dealing with researchers who default to Māori as end users or subjects of studies, the dot on the graph, trying to move past that dot on the graph. And it's also tackling those persistent and resistant attitudes like, what is Māori science, does it exist? So there is some system issues, and it's pretty pervasive where we've noticed this in science. There's a lot of distance between society and communities, and this has led to a loss of social cohesion. So the scientists aren't really interacting with the communities anymore. And so you really worry when the introverts and the geeks come out to march. And this is what happens. It's a little bit too late, I think. But what have we learned and what can we pass on to you? It's like, because I'm constantly engaging with communities, it keeps me grounded, it keeps me real. It also provides a form of support, and it gives me a public profile who support my work. So when I'm in trouble, the community comes to my defence. Same with whānau. We also are quite political. We're always advocating. We're in the minister's ears or other groups. So we're always in the forefront. We're in their mind, and we're proactive and preemptive. And it also provides us with a different perspective, a flexibility to get out of your comfort zone. So when I say you can learn a lot from Māori, including how to protest, we always protest. We're really good at protesting. This was a hekoi about the foreshore and seabed. And also, I think there's an example here. I can't really read it. I'm sorry about that. But it was what happened with Ngāpai is that it didn't get funded. It was a research excellence centre. So what happened, they didn't sit back and wait for anything or feel sorry for themselves. They got in the minister's ear, and they got signatures of how many researchers? 78 Māori researchers. And so they weren't waiting for someone to do something. They did it themselves, and they were successful. So success, I mean, I know we were supposed to end each talk with what's crazy and ambitious. Well, success for me is redundancy. I don't want to have to be a kaihotu forever. I really hope that other researchers will be able to take this upon themselves and not rely on us as be the go-between. That's it.
Kia ora, Amanda. We have got a couple of minutes for questions. Do we have any questions for Amanda or Melanie? Have I got time to ask one then? I'm going to ask one. No, oh really? Just on your Vision Mātauranga comments, I can't help thinking of a comment that Phil Liver made a couple of months ago when I first met him, that the problem with Vision Mātauranga is people prepare these bids and then they go to the Māori, kaimahi Māori, to VMify the bid. What's your comment on that one?
To retrofit it,
VMify
to brown wash it, to brown stamp it, Yeah, it's not it's not the fault of the researcher, right? I don't put everything squarely on the researcher. It's the system we're in. Okay, it doesn't allow for us to do that kind of consultation, whether it's with Māori communities or anyone. But unfortunately, the way it is, Māori communities always come in last. So if there's a list, it's industry, and there's something else, and there's something else, and then Māori. And so, I mean, it's a problem the system needs to address.
Kia ora, Amanda. One more question. Yep.
To and
I can hear you anyway.
okay, I talk loud. And I just wanted to say one of the reasons why that project came together is because we had this space to actually build those relationships. I had about 12 months to build my relationship within a pre-existing relationship with Ngāi Atiari. And that was something I think I've said to other challenges about how we can do this right. That we don't 4 weeks isn't going to do it. You're not going to get meaningful engagement in 4 weeks. You've got to be talking about this months, if not years ahead. And I really just wanted to say thank you for having the space to the challenge to actually create that project or co-develop that project with my Māori colleagues. So, kia ora.
And I'll just add, you need to put that in your report so that we've got that written down.
All right. Thank you, Amanda and Melanie. I'd just like you to show your appreciation in a normal way. Kia ora.